Evening, everyone, and welcome to the Monday, December 1st, 2025 Village Council meeting for the Village of Yellow Springs. Judy, if you could do the roll call, please.
Yes, Stokes.
I am here.
DeVore Leonard.
Here.
Hausch.
Here.
We are expecting Trish Gustafson and Carmen Brown any moment. Also present is Village Manager Johnny Burns, Assistant Village Manager Project Lead Elise Giardullo, Village Solicitor Amy Blankenship, and Police Chief Paige Burge.
Great. Well, we're going to begin with peace officer swearing in, so I'm going to hand it over to Chief Burge.
Very good. All right, good evening, everyone. So, these are always lovely events, and I'm happy to stand up here today to share a few words about our newest police officer. So, Officer Duff is who we are proud to be swearing in this evening. She joined our department in April as a police recruit, graduating from the academy in August of this year. She is our, I believe, third recruit to full police officer since we started the sponsorship program. She completed her field training just this past Sunday, so this week she will start her solo patrols. And again, being just graduated from the academy, we are her first and hopefully her last stop as a police officer.
Amen.
So in her short time with us, she has consistently demonstrated compassion, patience, and a genuine commitment to serving others. I've seen her show just an excellent rapport with our local youth. She's got a big heart for our local elderly groups. I mean, you name it, she just has more compassion in her middle finger than most police officers I meet.
Oh,
It wasn't a slip of the words. Before she came to us in law enforcement, she worked in the medical field, which is another service industry in my opinion. So it just reflects her dedication to helping those around her, something that I see her do every day. The team loves her. I don't know the last time we had a swearing in where two of their teammates showed up to make sure that they showed their proud support. And before I close and hand it over to Mayor Pam, I always like to extend my deepest gratitude to her family because they're the ones that make a big sacrifice for those that work in law enforcement. So her husband Joe is here tonight with her two little ones. You can see right here next to me. So thank you guys very much for allowing us to borrow your mom. She's going to be an excellent community servant, and we know that's a big sacrifice to give her up on nights and weekends and holidays, and for that we thank you guys. So we'll turn it over to Mayor Pam, who's going to do the official swearing in.
great. The next time, maybe.
Officer Duff, come forward.
Thank you, Pam.
No need to look at it, it's as easy as can be. We like to put these events on film so it becomes part of the historical record. And folks at home get to see it along with all of you who are, we're very thankful are here tonight, experiencing our council meeting. So with that in mind, let's get you sworn in. You ready?
Yep.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me.
Okay.
I solemnly swear
I solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and obey the laws of the United States
and obey the laws of the United States
and of the state of Ohio,
and the state of Ohio,
and that I will in all respects
and will in all respects
observe the provisions
observe the provisions
of the charter and ordinances
of the charters and ordinances
of the Village of Yellow Springs,
of the Village of Yellow Springs,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of
and will faithfully discharge the duties of
the office of police officer.
the office of police officer.
That is police officer, right?
Yeah.
Wait, not council person. There's rare occasions when you dress up. You're going to wear this somewhere on your person so that everybody can see that. And it'll remind you of the awesome responsibility that you've taken on. And we are totally thrilled that you are here. All right, officer.
Let's take it in. Thank you.
I missed his shirt, by the way.
I told him to, and he wouldn't do it.
Welcome. Yeah.
Thank you.
And next, we have the swearing in of Anthony Solomson as an alternate to the Planning Commission. All right, please. Let's see. All right, please raise your hand and please repeat after me. I solemnly swear
I solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and will obey the laws of the United States
and obey the laws of the United States
and of the state of Ohio,
and of the state of Ohio,
that I will in all respects
that I will in all respects
observe the provisions of the Charter
and observe the provisions
of the Charter.
of the Charter
Very good. And ordinances of the Village
and ordinances of the Village
of Yellow Springs.
of Yellow Springs.
And will faithfully discharge
I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of
I will faithfully discharge the duties of
Planning Commission alternate.
Planning Commission.
There we go. All right.
You do.
Yep. We do.
He does.
Yeah. So we can get his then.
And then he just went running.
All right. Okay, we're done with swearings in. Do we have any announcements?
I suppose I have a few. So I just wanted to say what a great Yellow Springs community Thanksgiving this year. I understand from the stats about 250 meals. There are about 200 people there. I want to thank Johnny and the village team for coming to the rescue on tables. There was a last minute request there. And also, if folks don't know Rita Shires, she's really done a great job with organizing and kind of, revitalizing this celebration. So we keep on getting more people to come, and the food's great. And that reminds me, we got an email that the group is now collaborating with the Beloved Community Group, which does the, every third Saturday community lunch from 12 to 2. That will be happening in December on the 20th. And so that's going to be a great collaboration. They also support our Bryan Youth Center with meals, so it's really wonderful. Wanted to remind everyone, I'm not sure we have a lot of Black Friday people in this town or room, but what's an important part of that whole trajectory is tomorrow, which is Giving Tuesday, which the Community Foundation, our Community Foundation, has rebranded as Caring Tuesday. And I do want to remind folks that ysgivingtuesday.org is the place to go if you want to support our local nonprofits. So great day to really celebrate what the holiday is all about. I wanted to thank the Yellow Springs Development Corporation for putting together the town hall about the what we call the hardware store building. As one of our two reps for the DC and also the vice president, it's really exciting when the Development Corporation can do the work that it's all about, which is about preserving our community, our culture, making sure the big California developers don't come in and displace local businesses and people that live there. So really exciting work. I know social media always kind of corrupts those good intentions, but this group, which is basically, it's Antioch College, it's the Community Foundation, the Chamber, the Village, the Township, the schools, thank you, and then other stakeholders. I mean, it's all about preserving what Yellow Springs is all about. So this is going to be great, and definitely be involved, contribute. It's going to be really cool. And that's what I've got.
All right, thank you, Brian. Really, really, really appreciate you always being at the ready, as it were. Lots of valuable announcements. Are there any other announcements in the room? All right, thank you once again for that, Brian. All right, we're now, moving on.
Well, wait, should we do the tree lighting? Is that in the?
It is in the manager's report, I believe.
Okay, we'll just flag it then. Sorry, I didn't remember to write down the days, but We'll get it.
It's this Saturday.
This Saturday.
It's this Saturday at 6:30.
6:30.
6:30 to 7.
Really, 6:30 to 7? Really?
It's not 6, 7, it's 6:30 to 7.
Well, it has been nice to see that Santa's already been downtown visiting our local businesses, so, yeah. Gonna keep on rolling.
All right, great. So we're all set for that. So now we are looking at the consent agenda. The one item that we have on the consent agenda is the minutes of November 17th, 2025, our last regular meeting. I will entertain a motion and a second to approve the minutes of our November 17th meeting.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor of approving, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. Hearing no activity there, that motion has passed. We're now at the review of the agenda. And this is where we take a look at the agenda and see if there's anything that we want to add to or remove from the agenda. Any items for review? All right, hearing none, moving on. Petitions and communications. Gavin, if you would, please.
Yeah, the clerk will receive and file Sheila Drennan with the council Short Street discussion, regarding the council Short Street discussion, and then there were 19 people who signed a letter related to the Spring Meadows 3 and 4, the like naming and the like association setup.
Great, all right.
That's all.
Great, thank you, Gavin, appreciate that.
Well, can I just, do we know, are those residents of the?
They are.
Okay,
They are.
they're all,
They're currently there
gotcha,
in Springs Meadow 1 and 2.
gotcha.
We had a whole conversation about it at Planning Commission. It seems like it's headed in the right direction.
Okay.
Happy to hear it. All right, public hearings and legislation, not seeing any emergency, well, do we need to do that first one, Judy? Title only, since it does say emergency.
It's never going to hurt to do a motion to read it in by title only.
Okay. Okay, all right. The chair will entertain a motion and a second to read any emergency ordinances by title only.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. That motion has passed. So, Judy, if you would, please, by title only, read the reading and for the public hearing also of ordinance 2025-25.
This is approving the 2026 annual appropriations and declaring an emergency, Village of Yellow Springs, Ohio.
I will entertain a motion in a second.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
This is me.
I looked where it calls.
We got two people out, so this is the same budget as was at the last time. There's nothing that has changed. We are still showing a $588,100 deficit, but we are on a path to fix that by 2028, and we're looking for council to approve the budget so we can get to work starting January 1.
Okay, good.
Now, answer as many questions as I can.
Well, great, thank you. And there, Michelle did include a memo.
Yes.
In the packet along with that. That being said, any questions, comments, or concerns from council?
I guess I have a couple comments. So I guess I first of all want to emphasize, because this has been discussed in Finance Committee, and, kind of highlights the piece around that we budget responsibly. So we underestimate revenues, we overestimate expenditures, and, I think I've said it a couple times publicly that there's an expectation that in 2026, we're going to probably see a balanced budget. We don't have that positive thinking moving forward based on, just infrastructure needs and looming issues around property tax and whatnot. But the fact that we passed the operating levy certainly makes a big difference. And So I think we should feel pretty good about 2026. Doesn't mean that we're not going to continue to look for ways to trim, but we've been doing that for a long time. And then the other thing I wanted to highlight was that, I guess just to clarify, when we talk about having healthy reserves, so I think I mentioned this before, but the state standard is to have 25% cash on hand. And so if you look at the documents, when we look at the general fund in particular, I think the number's 78%. So we're well above where the state considers you to be healthy, which is a good thing, because a lot of communities aren't there. So I think it's important to understand that we are constantly thinking about how do we invest current taxpayer dollars with current taxpayers and also sustain infrastructure, realizing that things are going to get more and more expensive. So, I mean, for a long time we've been right-sizing, but we also understand that in the next couple of years there's going to be some hard work. And I thought that was well expressed in the really nice memo that we got with the budget. So that's my soapbox.
Thank you, Brian, for those comments. Anything else from council? All right. Given the nature of things, we are going to open the public hearing. It's where the public has an opportunity to weigh in with any comments or concerns regarding the budget as presented. The public hearing is now open. Are there any public comments? Hey, there we go.
Hi,
Hi, Riley.
Riley Dixon. I work for the newspaper.
Yes.
Given that the state is pretty insistent on eroding the ways in which property taxes finance local municipal operations, what kind of backup plans? I know I'm not granted a response, but I think we are all interested in hearing how the village would be crafting a contingency plan, provided the state's, again, insistence on eroding this revenue source for the village. So in the nuclear option, if you guys don't get property taxes to finance your capital improvements, what then? Where does the money come from, and what is the village doing to come up with an alternative revenue source to fill that gap? Yeah, again, not a comment, just a question. And
yeah.
I know I'm not granted a response, but
I think it's appropriate. It seems like folks from the Finance Committee are
Yeah. Can I jump in?
Yeah.
So, first and foremost, property tax is not our major revenue stream. So, heaven forbid they take away income tax, but, that's something they've talked about. But the way it works is then we would have to, if you're talking about nuclear option, can't pronounce that too well.
the Bush vote.
Yes, it's about, basically, they would push it back to the municipalities to pass other levies. So then it becomes a matter of the community deciding how much do they value police services and how much do they value Parks and Rec. And, that's part of what was the impetus of the operating levy, in the beginning, was recognizing that our community wanted all these amenities. But I guess the idea would be if people are saving all this money on property tax, then they make their own choices about what services they want. So that's the bottom line. In the interim, and I think it was expressed in the memo as well, we're looking at other revenue generation. As you know, we passed the lodging tax. That brings in $50,000 a year, fixes a couple sidewalks. There are other opportunities around that, but yeah, it would come down to shifting from property tax to levies.
The only thing I'd add is just, so what you're talking about is the biggest thing that's out there is a group up in Cuyahoga County that's talked about, that's collecting signatures around property tax elimination that would go on the ballot, which is just terrifies municipalities and school districts around the state.
Right.
And I think the honest short answer would be, I think we're in about as good a position as we can be in. If we end up in that terrible situation, there's going to be a lot of figuring that's going to have to be done. And honestly, we'll be in a lot less of a bad situation than the schools will be. So I hope that what people start to take away is that if it ends up on the ballot, and that's definitely not a sure thing, that while it might sound good to have no property taxes, it's also really nice to have like roads and schools.
Social services.
And it would be a massive issue, because the legislature would have 60 days to turn around and plug a massive gap across the state. So I think the real dynamic is that we don't have some major contingency plan. As Brian was just saying, we have healthy reserves. I think we've managed money pretty well. But if we end up in a situation where there's that massive change, it's going to require a whole bunch of late nights and fast meetings to try to figure that out. And every single municipality and local and school in the state will be in that situation.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Sure.
If permitted?
Yeah.
Does that decision-making, how much of the burden does the finance committee have to shoulder in coming up with contingencies? Or is it more of not a committee, not a commission, or is it the village that does that?
They've got 60 days to try to figure out how to replenish the funds. So really, it's not even up to us. We're going to try to do everything we possibly can. But again, remember, we get 11 cents out of every tax dollar. So we are the low-lying fruit, and there's going to be bigger problems ahead of us. So by the time we get ours figured out, other people are probably worse off than we are.
Yeah.
And I would also think of the finance committee as, since only 2 council members can meet,
Right.
Without it being a public meeting, this is a way to do more work and focus, to bring it back to the full body. I mean, so ultimately, council's got to make the decisions, but I think that's the great thing about having some of these manager council committees, is that they can do some of the extra work just to prepare documents and, make recommendations, so.
Riley, I also say that in the last 7 months, I've not been to one manager's group that this has not been a topic. So there's more than just us working on it. So I'm collecting resources and information from other municipalities as well.
And what a horrible thing it would be if this came to pass.
Absolutely.
So, thanks.
Thank you, Riley. And I would just take a moment to commend Brian and Gavin, being those 2 members of council that are on the finance committee, them along with the members of staff that have done a great deal of work in smoothing the path, as it were, as these issues come up, and allowing the rest of council to have a real good idea of where the finances stand and what we have at our disposal. So again, thank you for the work that you all have done. Yes, sir.
Hi, Rolita Hildebrand. I was wondering, for the affordable housing line of $243,000.34, it says in the explanation that it's for loss in place operation and then other council initiatives. Is there a breakdown somewhere of what the loss in place operations is versus what the council initiatives would cost?
Do you mean a breakdown, really quick, can I ask for a clarifying question? A breakdown of operations, a breakdown of repairs, a breakdown of rents collected,
How
or
much of
what do
it
you
is for
mean?
loss in place,
Okay,
and how much of it is for other initiatives that might be out there?
okay, so what's included in loss in place would be, are you asking that repairs, rents collected,
Debt
and
service.
Debt service and taxes and renovations be included with that?
Right, I mean, how
Yeah.
much of this
Okay.
$243,000?
So that was the clarifying question I need to ask so that we can get you those numbers.
Yeah.
It would be 213,000 as lost in place.
Okay.
With the taxes, the payments, the sewer, the water, the electric, and all that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other public comments? All right, seeing no activity, the public hearing is now closed. Before we do the vote, just want to give council any additional opportunity to weigh in with any comments.
So I do have a motion to make and a update from, since our last meeting related to the Affordable Housing Fund. So after our last meeting, the Home Inc. folks reached out to Johnny asking about we did the repairs money and then the tap fees. And basically saying, could we move the tap fees or move the repair money and have it go toward the Cascades instead? They have their applications due in February. And so then I talked to Johnny, talked to Home Inc. folks. So their gap at this point is $68,213 to close the gap between, for their application to February. We have all the money that's left over from the fund this year that we didn't use. So I'd like to make a motion that we would, what it does is it increases the appropriation for the Affordable Housing Fund to $291,247. So it's a $48,213 increase, and assumes that that Home Inc. receives the state funding for the Cascades project. So basically, if they don't get the state funding, then there's no match. But if they get the state funding, this is the amount that they would need to close out that project and be able to apply in a good way here for February.
So you're saying there's 20,000 carryover? Is that?
So this is all appropriation from the Affordable Housing Fund for 2026.
So the ask is, the motion is for the 20,000 that we voted on for repairs.
To move.
Right, so
Yep.
what about the repairs that need to be done that people need help affording? So where's that, right? So moving, we voted yes on the tap fees and the $20,000 for repairs, and nothing else was voted in the affirmative. So your motion is to move that $20,000 for the funding gap with the Cascades if they get the state funding. What then happens to the people who need to make repairs on their property and are counting on that funding to do that?
Yeah, I think we could totally talk about whether we should do additional funds for that too. What they're, I think, basically looking at is that the sort of ability to leverage considerably more funds is on the Cascade side, but not on the repair side, essentially. So they're saying that this is the best use of the money for the village to leverage the most amount of impact for residents. It's true that it would be a...
So what we voted on was the 68,000 in tap fees? 64, what was it?
It's, I think 60,000, right?
Tap fees were
For tap
60,000 for tap fees.
60 in tap fees and the
Yeah.
20. And the
60
20
was tap fees,
Okay, so 60
Yep.
tap fees and the 20,000 repairs.
correct.
And so that repair money, so people can repair the homes that they're purchasing from Home Inc.
And let me
Where
add,
does that go?
let me add this. What we asked for, which was more than just 20, it also did include the veil, but we pulled that back, and it was just a portion of Home Inc.'s total repair bill.
Yeah, and a portion
So
of the
they
total
still,
ask. Right.
they have money already for repairs. We were just contributing a portion of their total repair bill.
What
So
was that, what was the percentage, what percentage? Do you remember?
the original number, I thought was just 5%.
It was 5% on the or the original ask on the Cascades project, was it 5% on repairs?
I believe so.
So Gavin, you referenced that we didn't spend funds in the affordable housing, line last year, so.
So it's a
I mean,
little bit.
why aren't we talking about doing both, I guess, so.
I'm not opposed to thinking about that. This is one of these that's kind of like the green space fund, where, just to be clear, it wouldn't impact the deficit at all. Obviously, every dollar that we spend impacts every other dollar, so these things are interconnected. But the amount that we're talking about in the budget would be the same. This would just be an allocation from a fund that already has these dollars in it, because we populated it last year.
I have a little bit of an issue, and I could be persuaded, either way. We've already voted on where those funds should go. And I have a difficult time, in general, backtracking and revisiting when we've already made a decision. And I have some feelings about that. And then also, $20,000 doesn't seem like a significant amount of money, but it is to people who need to make repairs to their homes. And whether it's 5% or 10% or 20%, that's for people who need the money for repairs to roofs or new appliances or plumbing or electric. This is not something that Home Inc. pays for, and it falls squarely on the homeowner. What would taking this $20,000 do? Would it be a detriment to those people? And that's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah, the conversation with them, I think, was they were just trying to figure out, how do we leverage the dollars as best as possible. They would be more than happy, and I would be happy to do the repairs, and we have the funds in the Affordable Housing Fund. Everything I said about what's in the fund would cover it, because it would ultimately just be, it would be $20,000 less of repairs, is what it would be.
Well, so we know we're not scoring well for LIHTC, so we're not gonna, that was part of what I thought we were thinking those dollars might stay in there for. I don't think we're gonna get it together on Glass Farm, at least for a year. So, anyway, so I wanna keep those repair dollars in, and then I've always thought, when we invest in housing, we get a return on investment.
So keep the repair dollars in as repair dollars.
Yes, exactly.
And my response to that would be, in terms of our investment, I want to remind everyone that this was Home Inc.'s request to move the money from repairs to the Cascades project, so that the real money directed to the Cascades project puts them in a better leveraging position with regard to getting additional funds.
Yep.
And to repeat.
I don't think this
this-
fund should be moved. I share the concerns Carmen mentioned, that's just, that's there for a reason.
So what if we did it we could do sort of two parts? So I'm happy to make, ultimately, the main concern here is making, the biggest thing is making sure that we have, that the funds are there to be able to set up the opportunity for this significant state match. So let's take aside the 20,000 home repairs. I'd be happy to just start by making a motion that says, increase the Affordable Housing Fund to, so it'd be 291, 247, then it'd be plus 20, so it'd be 311, 247, assuming Home Inc. receives the state funding for the Cascades project. And that would just address the question of creating
What's being budgeted.
closing the gap on the Cascades project.
I see quite a lot of action from the solicitor and the assistant village manager. Is there anything that you need to add, or you feel like you can add or should? I'm just...
Sure. I think that, Gavin, you had an opportunity to speak with Tiffany on this. And so from a budgeting perspective, I defer to Tiffany and whatever her thoughts were on that. I was just asking Elise if that money was coming from somewhere else or just increasing that line item. That was asking her.
We don't know.
Well, I talked to Tiffany, who couldn't be here tonight. She had, and obviously our finance instructor's out today. So I talked to Tiffany, I talked to Johnny, I looped in Judy and Amy so that everybody could check to make sure everything was okay. There's a fund that has dollars in it. This is just appropriating from that fund. And it just, on some basic level, it seems like if there's $1 million of state funds, they're this close, they've shrunk the gap a little bit from when we even talked the last time. So we're trying to figure out how do they get in a good position to get this application in February to have access to those funds. And that's what I'm suggesting. I'm making a motion to say, hey, let's do that piece. And then I'm happy to split out the 20,000, or just not talk about it, and then it would stay in. It's already in the budget as it is now.
I'll second your motion. Is everyone clear on what we might vote for in just a moment?
So I'm not clear where the funds are moving from into the affordable housing line. Where are they coming?
They're just,
in the 224 line.
it's just an appropriation from the funds.
It's from that fund, okay.
That fund.
Or as the way that Tiffany talked about it is, it's cash. It's not like you're not moving money into something, it's just already there.
Okay.
Because, I mean, don't we have like we had 80,000-ish, right? That's in the fund right now that we did not use because LIHTC did not move forward.
Yeah, and as you
So-
mentioned, we're almost certain, without having a planning and zoning person, there's no other projects that are in this kind of pipeline. So it's very likely to be a year where there's nothing other than the basics on loss in place that we just went through.
So yeah, I guess I just think of it as it's not adding to deficit spending for 2026.
Correct.
So, and
But it can offset it.
it's true. And again, but yeah, I mean, return on investment is always important to me. When we do housing, we get more property tax, hopefully. We get income tax, we get more people here, we lower costs. So anyway, but
Yeah, we would get, I think it was something like $11,000 a year. It's not, this isn't taxable.
I don't want this to set a precedent. That's what I'm saying. I don't want this to set a precedent. Because, it could. And I'm a little sketchy about that, and I don't want that to happen. Of course, I want everybody to have what they want.
So we've moved on from the repair funds, and we're just increasing the amount of money from the Affordable Housing Fund that would go and eventually be cash for leveraging furtherance.
So can you clean up the motion?
So I'll say, I think I did, I think I said it the right way, but tell me if you think I'm missing something or if it's not clear. To increase the appropriation for the Affordable Housing Fund to, and does this math add up? It's basically just 20 more than what I said before because the 20 would stay in from the repairs. So increase the appropriation for the Affordable Housing Fund to $311,247, which is a $68,213 increase, assuming that Home Inc. receives state funding for the Cascades project. And what Tiffany told me is essentially we're going to have to, I'm looking at you because the two of us will be up here, but we're going to have to still appropriate next year. So
Absolutely.
this will come back again.
Right.
But this is just saying it's in the budget, and then that way they can put it in their application essentially. So does that motion make sense?
It does.
And I still second that motion. All right? Can we do a roll call vote? Voice vote?
On the motion?
On the
Yes. Brown,
No.
Couch,
yes?
Gustafson,
No.
DeVore Leonard,
Yes.
Stokes.
Yes. All right, thank you for that. That motion has passed, and you all on the next council can finagle over what the next steps would be. Thank you, Gavin, for bringing that up. All right.
So you need to take a,
You got to do the whole thing.
Yep. Thank you for that as well. All right, we'll assume that there's no other comments on the budget. So Judy, if you could do a roll call vote on the modified, but,
Budget as amended.
yes.
Got it. All right, Hausch.
Yes.
Gustafson.
No.
Gilmore Leonard.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Stokes.
Yes.
Thank you.
The motion is passed. Thank you very much, everyone. Judy, if you could, please read by title only, ordinance 2025-29.
This is approving a right-of-way vacation request to vacate one alley off of West Whiteman Street and Phillips Street.
Can I get a motion in a second, please?
So moved.
Second?
Okay, this is me.
Yep.
This is an alley vacation that has a partial building already built on it, so this is just paperwork after the fact, many, many years ago. And it is only for half of the alley. It is not for the complete alley. It literally runs from Whiteman halfway to Phillips. So Whiteman to Phillips is the complete alley. We're only vacating it halfway.
And it's going to traverse, is it a total of 3 properties? including
Three
the Hudson?
properties,
Including the Hudson.
correct.
Okay.
And Johnny, how far west is it on Whiteman? I meant to,
It's about
I was
halfway.
kind of driving by.
It's like
but-
almost to Phillips.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Between Phillips
Okay,
Yeah.
right there, gotcha.
Stopped our party.
And the other folks, the neighbors,
They've all signed off on it. So,
and I won't get into details of what they agreed to, but as long as they all agree.
yes.
Okay. All righty.
So actually, I just kind of have one question. So the report's clear. I don't have an opposition to this one, but I wonder why in the factors there isn't something that's like future thinking. So I feel like that is problematic because, well, I mean, the elephant in the room for me is East North College.
Yep.
And why did we ever give that up? So I don't think that's the issue here, but I would suggest that the zoning code needs to be updated to also have an evaluatory factor, which is, consider any possible future use, because there's nothing like that. It's just like what's current.
Correct. And I think, I'll speak for myself, we literally don't vacate alleys anymore.
Right.
Because people were vacating them prior to 17, that way they didn't have to maintain them. Which we still have power lines back here, we still have utilities, so you still have to go back here. Prior to me getting here or staff getting here, I think people may have just been able to build and not get inspections. Maybe it was difficult to get inspections or whatever, but there's a couple houses like this that are over the alleyways. I can think right around your property of your place where you live. There's
When
2
I saw
alleys.
Whiteman, I was like,
Yeah. So we as staff do not give up right-of-ways. We need them badly. So,
yeah. And I know that's been, a policy shift, which I
Correct.
appreciate. So anyway, so that would be my, maybe pass that on to planning commission.
Yes.
That seemed, it just seemed absent to me that we're not thinking about the future.
All right. Go ahead.
Would we have to do a whole zoning update could we just ask that we make it a practice that in reports on, I don't know, vacations that we have that section, or does it really require a whole?
That would be
Do we have what section?
to not vacate alleys. Problem is, if there's a building built across it,
Yeah.
like we have had this year, you might as well vacate it because you can't.
Can't use it.
I think
what
all
I'm-
he's saying
Well,
is
unless you tear down
when we
the
do
building.
analysis of things, could we just have a section that basically says, hey, what might future considerations be?
Right.
And
So
I'm
in
just
Meg's
saying, rather than
report,
it being a whole
it-
zoning code thing, could we just say, hey, can we try to ask our planning folks to do that going forward?
Correct.
Seems like good practice, right?
Yeah, but, basically, the report we got was applicable code and findings, which Meg does a really good job of going through. So yeah, Amy, what I'm saying is, like, why isn't there number 6 or whatever? Yeah, I think I'm right, number 6. I just threw that out there. That says, like, think about the future or whatever.
Sure, so yeah, I mean, that would be, we could, we have a code on point, 1224.02, which sets forth those 5 standards that you look at, and we could add a 6th standard. It's easy enough.
I mean,
Take it
it
through
seems
plan
like it
solution.
makes so much sense to me, I don't know, so.
I mean, it does, right now, obviously one of the factors is it's the relationship between the action and the comp plan. And then one of them is to review present land use, but nothing speaks to future land use.
Yeah. Okay, well, one of the last things I'll leave out there.
Yeah.
That I hope gets followed up on.
Oh, I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it will be. All right. Any other comments on the resolution? Oh, thank you. It is an ordinance. Any other comments before we move on? And this is the first reading, so we will see this again. All right? Hearing nothing, we're moving on. Now, resolution 2025-58. If you could read that by title only, Julie.
This is approving wage adjustments and salary ranges for village employees.
Can I get a motion in a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
That's me.
Okay.
So this is something we do every year. I sent out a question and Greater Dayton Area Managers group responded, and then we looked at the average, and the cost of living average is 3.17, so we're recommending 3% for 252, not cost of living, but for section 252. I said that bad word. So that is the memo that I have in the packet.
Okay.
So Kevin, Mitzi Miller asked before the meeting if it was possible for her to speak to this topic. I know we don't always do that, but I said I would.
In the spirit of Thanksgiving, yes. Come on up.
Hi, my name's Mitzi Miller. I'm a resident, have been for 30 years. I'd like to speak on the wage adjustment for village employees for 2026. If you approve this increase resolution, this could give employees up to an 8% pay increase. Who in this day and age gets a 5 to an 8% raise? Along with longevity bonuses, this seems well above comparable rates found in other small villages and communities that would probably get about 2 to 3%. Did you compare other similar community rates compared to Yellow Springs? How was the deficit considered in this recommendation? Tightening our village's belt needs to be across the boards in all aspects of the village. I hope you be good role models for all those residents struggling due to our current economy and the impact it's had. Thank you.
Thank you, Mitzi. Since the floor has been opened, is there any other comments? Okay, thank you. Anything else from council?
I do. I have an issue with Section 3. So Amy had asked you at one point where the policy was for merit increases for employees, and we don't have one. That's what my understanding was. And the way you explained it is that this practice came from contracts. Merit was in contracts. The contracts expired. Merit increases have continued to be awarded without a policy from the village. So if there's a policy or a motion, oops, my computer just died on the language, then, we have to have that. I mean, we can't just give people money without council approving it.
Sure. So, hi, good evening. First time I've taken the podium tonight. personnel manual does not have a policy in place for merit increases for salaried employees. So this is council by legislative act, reinforcing the longstanding practice that the village manager has always done through through performance evaluations. The 5% is tied to the step increases of the 252 chart between, for our employees that are not salaried, that are on the chart, when they step up, which they can do annually based on their performance evaluations, it's a 5% increase. So this tracks that, which to my understanding, Merit here has always done. This tracks the increase on the chart, and this is council approving that process for the manager. And something that Johnny had mentioned when he gave a staff report on this is something that council sees every year. This one is a little bit different because we're broadening it a little bit to incorporate that section 81 of the charter, which says that the manager shall, from time to time, bring these regulations to council. So this is a little bit broader than our typical 252 resolution. And the reason why Johnny makes the joke about cost of living is because, really to Mitzi's point, 252 was revised about 13 years ago, shortly after the recession. And before that, it had simply said that all employees would get a cost of living increase. And then it was tweaked to say that the manager will bring a recommendation to council for an increase for employees. It will be related to cost of living, other employers and public employers in Greene County, and the village's budget. So that now are the three factors that go into his recommendation to you. So it's not strictly a cost of living anymore. Theoretically, that number could be zero. So that's where this resolution now, the intent being that this resolution comes to council in this form pretty much every year to do a couple of things. The manager's 252 recommendation for the non-salaried employees that sit on the steps. You'll see in section 2, unclassified employees, those are our salaried employees, that they will also be increased by 3% in accordance with the recommendation for the step employees, the 252 employees. And then, yes, that third point about merit, that he's authorized to issue merit increases based on performance evaluations, not to exceed 5%, which again tracks what all managers of the village are able to do for their non-salaried employees based on performance evaluations.
Right, so essentially, we would be giving, in a time where we have residents who can't afford groceries or utilities, we'd be giving our staff potentially 8%, right? If he chooses to move them up to the top of that, that's 8%, when the average for the state of Ohio is 3%.
The average increase across the board, not considering merit. Those numbers consider what, for public employees, which I know you know this, those numbers are what is given across the board for all employees. Every community has merit increases. It's just a matter as to whether or not they're doled out or not. So, and I don't know that everyone is automatically entitled to the 5% merit. I think that, the personnel policy, for example, does specify where your level has to be on your annual performance evaluation in order to be entitled to your step increase. And this would, like I say, this would track that for salaried employees.
That's just a decision that council has to make, and 8% is a lot of money, and it's just tone deaf to what's happening in the state of affairs, and I can't support that.
An option that did not occur to me until just now would be to put some language, and Johnny, feel free to help me, Elise, wordsmith this, would be to put something in section 3. It says that currently says the manager is authorized to approve merit increases for eligible employees based on their annual performance evaluation. What is our top performance evaluation standard? What's the verbiage that we use? We could include that on here.
Above average.
So we could put something in here that says an above average or exceeds expectations or whatever it is to be entitled to that 5%.
Well, it's not 5%, it's up to.
Right.
It does not have
So
to be.
it's 4 to, yeah.
It
Right.
could be 2, it could be 1.
Right.
So, I mean,
So we're voting
Have you
on
received
everyone
an
getting
8%
3% wage increase, which 12 years ago was referred to as cost of living.
Correct.
And acknowledging the village manager's authority to do what he feels is in the best
Which has,
circumstance regarding.
correct, which has always been the practice of the
Right.
village, and per personnel manual is also the practice for our, this is only for salaried employees, which is 9 people, perhaps, something like that.
Less than 10, probably.
Not counting the 2 of you, I believe it to be about 8 or 9. Everyone else is on those 252 steps, and they are also entitled for a step increase if they meet certain standards in their performance evaluations. They will receive the 3%, but then they would also be entitled to a step increase if they meet the right standards.
I want to speak to, the tone deafness of whatever decision that we make regarding what our constituents and residents of the community are experiencing. I'm probably the only one up here, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, who makes less than the federal poverty level. So I'm going to speak on this. There are difficulties, but what I will say is that every person in this community benefits from the exemplary services that we have in this community. Yeah, Springfield got 2.5%, but Springfield doesn't give flour and sugar to widows and widowers. Springfield got 2%, but if my car breaks down or I'm locked out, I can call a police officer here. I wouldn't be able to do that in Springfield. So everybody benefits, and I'm not, so the inserting of the poor for an agenda is really disconcerting to me. So what I will say...
That's an assumption.
Okay. What I will say is that we have exemplary services in this community. You have to pay for it. And if one day we called the police and nobody answered, or if there was a power outage and Johnny wasn't on it at 3 o'clock in the morning, or a water main break, none of these other municipalities, none of their personnel do the job that our staff does, period, hands down, point blank. Being in conversation with other council members from other cities, I know this to be true. They just don't.
Well, I can say I worked for Beaver Creek Township for 21 years, and our people got up at 3 a.m. to shovel snow, to help stuck cars. I mean, that is what public sector employers do. They also, when you're deficit spending, freeze salaries, right? And it stinks. It's not fun. It's hard to make the tough decisions, but that is common.
You should have said that, and please don't insert poor people. You should have said that first. You should have led with that.
No, it's still a concern. It's still a concern. I can
Heard.
have a concern.
Yes.
You can have your own concerns, Carmen.
Yes,
That's the way
absolutely.
it is.
Yes, correct.
So I want to add in a couple other layers to this. So if I understand correctly, there's been work going on around the policy handbook, and the expectation is that we bring this back sometime early next year to try to sort of close up.
Correct.
We've been doing work to look at this. The other big picture piece is around what pay rates are. So if somebody is paid really low and gets an 8% increase to be aligned with how much is normal to be paid, then we would, I assume, generally not have a concern with that. What we're concerned about is if somebody is on the high end and is getting the highest end increase, right? Then the other related component is just what's happening in the budget more broadly. So I think the point is well heard that we've got to get serious about our budget. The dynamic around the deficit, it also has to be contextualized with our cash situation, right? We're not in a position where we are immediately in trouble. We are in a situation where we need to get some of our costs in line over time. By far, the biggest questions are around our infrastructure spending, and some of those are pretty darn big ticket items where we can think about how do we spread them out over time. I'll just say I feel confident that we're going to be able to get our spending in line over the next coming years so that we're not in a position where we actually don't have cash reserves to cover the difference. So anyway, just saying that those are the other related elements, where if we were in a position where we did not have reserves, then I would think that level of scrutiny would be totally warranted. We're not in that position. We have quite a bit of headway before, lead time before we got in that situation. And so that's why, for me, it's a little bit, it's nuanced. It's not just a
So how many of
blanket
these
either way.
people have been here for 6 years or longer? Because, I don't know, what was it, 8 or 10 years ago, we had something on the ballot for longevity pay to go towards actual pay rather than being a bonus. And in the public sector, longevity is a bonus. So this is something that was selected and voted on. So that goes from, 1 to 6 2/10%. So that is another layer of pay. The policy is longevity pay. So we're looking at, up to 8% plus another 1 to 6 2/10 on top of that.
Wait till the council's done.
Okay, so I guess I have a different perspective. So first of all, I have no problem with cost of living adjustments and merit pay. But what I will say, and so Tricia's not wrong, is every year since I've been on council, I have tried to get information about what is our merit increase policy. And so it is true, we don't have one. And so why that is a problem is it makes it hard to budget. So, it's very typical for organizations to say, whoever's that decision maker, here's how much you have to work with, right? And so, I think related to that, I want the public to know that we've been working on unraveling, how it all works together, because we've got steps, we've got longevity, cost of living is very important. And so I guess I want to validate what Tricia's saying, that we need to resolve this. But that's not going to change my decision about the cost of living adjustment. And again, I'm not saying merit pay is wrong, but the reality is for at least 12 years, and I'm expecting it's probably been forever, it has been totally the discretion of the village manager, and council hasn't really been involved in understanding that.
Right, and so isn't that the purview of council? Isn't that our responsibility? For 12 years, nobody did it, and we're still not doing it.
Right.
We need to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and we haven't yet.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that we're not with the next council, but we are where we are right now. So you're
And
just.
we're working on
You're just
it, so-
making,
Yeah.
you're just, reinforcing the fact that this is council's purview, and council should have been on it.
Yes.
Well, I've been bringing it up for 2 years, so, for what that's worth.
Yeah, we've actively been working on it, and it's something that we're trying to close up as quick as we can. I don't know if it was something we were going to talk about in the manager's update or at the next, if we were going to do a, conversation at the next meeting, but I think we're all clear that we're trying to clarify this, and there's a piece around the handbook too that's interrelated. Is there, all the issues we brought up, the goal is by the time the handbook is done, meaning between the payroll review and then the handbook, that we would be at a place where there would be closure on these questions, right?
Correct.
Except for the ordinance, but
What's
that's another
that?
topic. The longevity.
Along.
So that is in the personnel manual, the longevity policy, and the way it gets calculated.
Right, but it was voted on to add it to pay. So we have legislation that says,
Yeah, that is news to me. I did not know that.
you're the one that told me that.
No, that would be news to me. I don't believe that we ever, that
We
there
were
was
on a call and you said, I'm looking at this right now, this was actually put to the voters.
Let's,
Point.
no one seems to agree on the clarity
Well, that's
of
even
that.
better, then you can change it.
Absolutely, we can change it. I wonder what we would have been discussing.
I don't know, it was on longevity. And you were like,
Nobody else was here for that, though, so What?
Yeah, no, but it's
What are we
better.
doing?
If it's a handbook policy, then you guys can, I have the comparables, actually, a
Well,
chart that I'll be sending to you.
I think the
see.
handbook work should be done as part of the handbook work, as it were. Really, I'm ready to call the vote on this. Is there something pertinent?
No, I just wanted to say,
It's a hot
I've
mess.
worked in public sector for 30 years doing budgeting and programming and
You better come up to the mic, Relita.
Here, Relita. Get up here.
No, Relita Hildebrand. So I've worked in budgeting and programming for 30 years at a very high level and low levels. And the number one cost that you're going to have is people, regardless of the infrastructure costs you have. The number one cost driver is people. And once you give somebody a raise, you can't take it away. And so I'm just saying that, you know, if we're belt tightening, a good way to do some of these things is through bonuses that are not permanent. They're based on performance for the year, and you guys already talked about that, but I just wanted to say, and I'm also volunteering if you want some help with your handbook. I've got a lot of experience in this area in the
There we
government
go.
sector, so anyway, thank you.
Duly noted.
Shouldn't have never said no.
It's on the record. It's on the record. As always, thank you for your comments. Anything else amongst council before we vote? All right. Judy, if you could do roll call vote for resolution 2025-58.
All right, and it is actually 2025-57. My apologies, I have it wrong in the agenda, correct on the actual legislation.
Thank you for that.
Hausch,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Gustafson. No. DeVore Leonard,
Yes?
Stokes.
Yes.
Thank you.
So are the next two resolutions 58 and 59? Or are they?
They are 59 and 60, which is why I got confused there. But yes.
We're good. Righty. That being clarified, could you please read by title only, Resolution 2025-59?
This is approving a salary adjustment for Judith Kintner for continued services as the clerk of council.
You left out the O. You left off the O.
Oh. That was a big deal last year. Now you all know what it stands for.
I'll entertain a motion and a second to consider.
So moved. Second?
All righty. I don't know who is prepared.
It's you guys, your
Yeah.
council, you're doing it.
Well, I mean, we should talk about the process a little bit,
Yeah,
right?
sure. Yeah.
Gavin?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just,
Organize, you know.
yeah, we just did the process that we talked about doing. I made a bunch of notes on things that we can, you know, just things that came up during the process of, I'd say, minor tweaks that we can change for last year. But for longtime listeners, you know that we tried to start a sort of systematic process this year where we did first self-evaluations, and then did executive session where we discussed, you know, our management role. It's one of these weird things about trying to get 5 people to be the managers with one voice to Judy and Johnny. And then we also figure out how to manage the contract with the solicitor. But yeah, so we put into place the evaluation. It was pretty much exactly the same. Trish, thanks for all your work last year. I mean, it was basically the same sort of criteria. And then met with Judy and Johnny independently. And now that's where we are here. And then the process will begin early next year, and we start working on setting goals that will then flow into village manager and clerk goals, and then a couple different check-ins during the year before starting this process again and just doing it on an annual basis so that we are ready to go for this meeting right here. I think, is that what you wanted me to say?
Well, maybe I'll just add, it's not just 5 people, but it's 5 people that work super part-time. I mean, yeah, I mean, this is not, we do a lot of meetings, and, you know, it's hard to, you know, also have all of that, like, management time. So I think the other thing, though, I wanted to compliment about the process was that Not only did we follow what I thought was a great setup that Trish did last year, but we had several meetings, one with council. I think we were in the room for 3 hours talking about our clerk of council and our village manager. And then we spent quite a bit of time with each as well to have a discussion about where things were at and how, I'll just say, happy I am with the fact that we've got a clerk of council that's been here for quite a long time and also a village manager that's got so much knowledge and skill. But anyway, we really focused more on spending time discussing and interacting about how both Judy and Johnny felt, and I thought that was really important.
Yeah, I will agree, Brian. Well, I'll agree with all of the comments I've heard. I think early on this year, it seems like forever ago, when I said I think we get better at this. In my tenure, we've gotten better at this process each time we've done it. And kudos to those of you who really did some of the heavy lifting on getting us to where we are. And I will also say for anyone that's listening, all the comments that you heard so that Johnny's doesn't feel left out. We probably won't say all this again to Johnny because it was the same process for both Judy and Johnny, who are the two members of staff that report to council.
May I ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
Before we vote on this? Only because this has become a point of confusion in years past. So both of these following two resolutions have a percentage amount in them. The resolution you just passed awarded 3% to all salaried employees of the village. The percentages in the clerk contract and the manager contract, is that intended to be all-encompassing or in addition to the 3% that was awarded in the last resolution?
All encompassing.
Okay, that's great. I just wanted to get that perfectly crystal clear because we had to revisit this a couple years ago at a subsequent meeting for that very issue.
Because just to be clear, our understanding was that if we didn't, then they wouldn't be covered
Yes,
by the...
no, right. I just, like I say, we just had a little bit of a confusion.
Yeah.
You never want to be on the phone the next morning with the finance director saying, well, did you ask the question? So now we know for sure.
Good on you, Amy. Alrighty. Any other commentary before we vote?
No, I will abstain just because I wasn't able to take part in the process. So.
Acknowledged. Alrighty.
You want to do roll call on that?
Sure. I'm in the mood.
Okay. Okay. Hausch.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
DeVore Leonard.
Yes.
Stokes.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we do have that one as potential. All right. So whenever you're ready, Judy, read by title only, Resolution 2025-60.
This is approving a salary adjustment for Johnny R. Burns for continued service as a village manager.
I will entertain a motion in a second to consider.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Ditto. We talked about the process, we talked about the meetings, and the depth of time, the amounts of time that we spent going through the process that got us to here. Any other comments?
I think only that, both of these salary increases reflect that we are understanding that we need to tighten the belt. I mean, I know, Kevin, you mentioned it. I mean, we would love to increase salaries more, but, and that was part of the conversation that we did have with Judy and Johnny, is that we recognize that. And I also think, going back to the prior conversation, that Johnny understands that in his decisions about merit increases. So I don't want that to be confused.
Indeed.
So we're all on the same page.
Indeed. Thank you, Brian. Any other comments?
Just same, I'll abstain because I
Yep.
wasn't a part of it.
Got you. Thank you. Judy, if you could, call the roll, please.
DeVore Leonard.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Hausch.
Yes.
Stokes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for all of your participation there. Now we're to citizen concerns. This is where each of you is required to come up here. No. if there's something you'd like to share for the record, have an opportunity to come up, share your thoughts. There will be a time clock to help gauge the depth and length of your comments. Please acknowledge or be advised that it is not customary that council would respond to your comments, but we are certainly happy to hear them. Are there any citizen concerns? Please identify yourself and your relationship to the village.
Hi, my name's Mitzi Miller. I am leading the Yellow Springs Citizens Action Group for Safe Sidewalks. I just want to share a nice little story. A week ago, near the library, there was an elderly woman using a cane, and she had a shopping cart she carried. She lives on West Davis Street in apartments, and she could not walk on the sidewalk because of gravel and leaves and dirt. And I just pulled my car up and said, I just asked her how she was doing, and she had said, I would love to be on the sidewalk, but. And I said, you don't worry about it, because I will be here this weekend and clean that sidewalk off for you. And I just want to take that opportunity to share that, because there are so many giving people in our community and kind people that help out one another, especially those people who are elderly. And with the snow coming, it's always nice to give a neighbor a hand, and we're a community of givers, and that's really appreciated.
Thank you, Mitzi. Any other citizen concerns? Yes.
Hi, Relita Hildebrand, Village resident. I was going to talk about something else, but now I'm going to talk about affordable housing budget, because I got up here and I asked a question about the budget, and I specifically asked how much is going to Lawson Place, because I wanted to know how much was going to Home Inc. or council initiatives. And I sat down, the session was closed, and then Gavin, you say, in the greatest bait and switch ever, in my opinion, oh, I got a call from Home Inc. And they want us to change everything that we did. No paperwork here. I mean, half the council didn't even know about it. But you called Johnny and Kevin, and you talked about it, and now we have a new budget that's, what, $60,000 higher, that was made in this, like, small little discussion topic here with literally no community input, because you closed community input before you even talked about it. And I really think that it's interesting that we have one nonprofit in this village that can pick up the phone and call almost any of you and get exactly what they want. I don't know that that exists with any other nonprofit that works in this space in our village. And I really find it to be an abomination, a huge lack of integrity and transparency. I'm extremely upset, because the reason I got up here and asked the question specifically about affordable housing was because it wasn't clear in your budget how much was going to Home Inc. And I have no problem with that organization, none whatsoever. Nor do I have a problem with the fact that the Village Ethos supports affordable housing. What I do have a problem with is the lack of transparency. The fact that you have a private conversation, that there's no documentation, that it gets discussed just like, over a dinner table, and we're talking about $60,000. That's all I have. Thank you.
I have a question. Do you mind?
No.
So I brought up something that's called the 21 Points of Light to address this issue. It's a catchphrase from Beaver Creek Township, where there are certain steps that have to come before approvals. So in your 30 years of experience in public sector budgeting, what was the approval process for your group?
Oh, well, I mean, I worked for the Department of Defense, so it was extensive, right? I mean, there were probably 30 different steps, so there's a huge amount of bureaucracy. But I mean, I don't need 30 different steps. I just need transparency. And at the end of the day, for a federal government, you have transparency with Congress, you have transparency within your organization. I mean, the decision makers make their decisions, and it's public knowledge. It's public knowledge as in congressional record. But I mean, in this little village here, in this meeting today, I went from being extremely satisfied to being outrageously upset. Because I feel like there was it's like I said, zero transparency.
But we did everything right here. This is all we can do. So
Where's the paperwork?
presentation.
Where's the paperwork?
There could be
Where's the
formal
request?
paperwork, right?
Where's any justification?
We already had talked
Yeah,
about
the
it.
paperwork is from budget session 1
Now,
and 2.
when you have a change
There's-
to budget, you have a formal process where somebody comes up and stands
This
in
is
front
the
of
process.
you. No, this is the process that's
Do you
been
have
in
anything
place.
in writing? Do you have anything in writing from Home Inc. about what you just brought up?
No, I mean, we
Yeah, it
already
was
talked.
just a conversation.
We have the proposal as it was brought up before. I'm just saying this is the weird thing about making decisions as a body.
Well,
Don't put it.
I don't think
No,
it's.
because
No, I'm just
staff
saying,
even
when
has a
else, I can
problem.
only call one person, that's all I'm allowed to do. So I have to bring it up here.
So,
No,
but before it went to public comment, you couldn't have said.
I understand
"Oh,
I
oh,
understand the timing of that is frustrating, and I wasn't trying to undercut. I
Or
assumed that if people
here's
had
a letter
concerns, they'd
from
bring
Home
it up.
Inc. that I'm going to include in the minutes so that people can see what Home Inc. is actually, instead of a bunch of mumbo jumbo, that's what it sounded like to me. Because
understand.
guess what? I wasn't part of the conversation with you and whoever you spoke to at Home Inc., nor was I a part of that conversation or that conversation. And so all of this was, oh yeah. And I kept thinking to myself, how could you guys, who were not in the conversation whatsoever, go, oh yeah, let's just change this on the fly. It's only 60 grand.
I understand.
Anyway, thank you.
Yep. There needs to be a
Thank you,
formal
Lita.
process.
Thank you. Any other citizen concerns? All right. Hearing none, we're closing citizen concerns. We don't have any special reports, but we do have the manager's report.
All right.
Johnny, you have the floor.
I did look back in the emails, and Saturday, the 6th, at 6:30 to 7 o'clock is
Okay.
the holiday lighting for the tree.
I've never seen it go that quickly.
Yeah, well, that's true. Well, it don't start normally. But
Okay.
but that is when it's scheduled to start, is at 6:30, so I would get there early and come and enjoy the downtown area with the holiday lighting. I want to stop before I go further on the, there's a memo from Aaron for active transportation that he laid on our spots. There'll be a resolution come next council meeting. This is information to be able to submit for a grant to the active transportation for ODOT to try to get refunded to have that updated. So we'll have a resolution next time to be able to get the process started to be able to submit the application. The application went in today with the letter, but we'll have to send them the past resolution if you guys so desire.
Okay.
So that is what the memo there is for. Flour and sugar was delivered. About 70 residents got flour and sugar. And there is still some that, just a couple handful that we have found out that have not got the flour and sugar yet. Had a great time off, spent a lot of time with family. Hope everybody else did. I was Thanksgiving out by Sunday afternoon, that's for sure. So I do want to say the 365 project got done. We had the unveiling. The folks come there, and Tanner and them was able to unveil the plaques for the downtown area. It was a long process to get the plaques in place, but we got them in for the downtown area. They are located right there next to the Miami Valley, or the bike trail right there. Went to the West Carrollton Dayton area managers meeting, and we looked at some bylaws for the the DAMA Group, which stands for Dayton Area Managers Association. And that was another one, Riley, that they talked about income tax at, so, or property tax, I should say. The council goals will be updated at the second meeting in December, which Elise is working on. We had three new team members start, 2 in the street department and 1 in the water department. So if you see Darius or Wesley or Mike out there, make sure you say hi to them. Hopefully 2 of them don't have to get called in tonight, so that's our hope anyway. But they was out working today, putting some brine down on the road, trying to get some preconditioning done. Park the Cruiser happened, or Pack the Cruiser, I should say. It went very well. They've literally got a bunch of food that they've been helping out local residents with. And if you need assistance, reach out to the PD and they will get you hooked up with the COS positions and they will get you taken care of. 224 requests were taken for COS positions in the last 2 weeks. A lot of this, because it was a short week, it was a very small packet. We have lost a team member from the utility office, part-time, but we got to retain her. She's now a full-time dispatcher. She starts tonight. So if you're walking out, say hi to Corey. She's in training on dispatch. So we was able to retain her. She snagged a full-time position as soon as she found it. So want to say congratulations to Jeff Horn for his water license for the plant and Dale Fisher for his wastewater collection license. If you all remember, 2 years ago, they switched departments from the street and the linemen, and they took over the plant positions. They have got their first license, and now what they'll do is they'll switch and want to work at the wastewater, want to work at the water, so they can get those licenses and do dual license at the same time. So I believe that's about all I have. The other thing that I will mention is you'll be seeing, we're working on Windsor on finalizing the different things for the CRA, and actually Bricker is working on getting some final documents that will come back next council meeting for a vote for a CRA for the Windsor project.
I want to add something. There was a story on YSO right before I walked in here, and I was listening to it. Tanner is on the radio. Yeah, it was really great.
For Flour and Sugar.
Flour and Sugar,
They did.
yeah.
They followed
Awesome.
YS News, Ben Gunther, and WYSO all followed
Yeah.
for the Flour and
It was a
Sugar.
really good op-ed. It was
And
great.
I've been told that, was it you that told me that WYSO, they picked it up and it's going across
Yeah, the state news.
the
Yeah.
state news?
Yep.
It's going to be on all
So,
NPR stations in Ohio.
it was great.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because it did bring a tear to my eye. Tanner told that story, and it was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll have to say, I was home watching last night and I'd heard about it, but if you want to look at a video on YouTube, or I believe it's on ours, the history of Yellow Springs, you will learn a lot about this town, all the way back from the original Forest Village days. And a lot of names that you've heard many times, but now you can put the name with the street or with the building.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
very interesting. That is what I have.
All right. Any questions of the village manager regarding his report? Okay, thank you. All right, now we're going to old business, which is a discussion on conversion therapy ban, discussion. And Amy, I'm imagining that you were responsible for the various legislation from the, oh, was it you, Judy?
No, that's
It might be good if I front-ended, because I did end up, okay, so, you know, we have kind of the, I guess, 2 options that, you know, seem to be common is there an ordinance and a ban, or is there a resolution saying we frown upon this activity, or we abhor it is probably a better way to articulate that. But I ended up a couple hours ago reaching out to the Cuyahoga County folks to understand why they went the route that they did. And the main thing that resonates with me is that they have an anti-discrimination ordinance. And so I think at this point, that's what we should focus on. That is why they're able to have a ban, because it points to that anti-discrimination ordinance, which they added, that conversion therapy is part of that. And I'll say as a side note, I know we've talked about, well, they have this, it's actually not human relations, Human Rights Commission, and that's a reason we can't do a ban. Actually, we have a mayor's court. And so if this was an ordinance, then I believe, and we can check on this, that would be our arbitrating body. But honestly, for me, I'll just say, when I read what Oberlin did, I mean, it's an important statement, but I think we should really consider what Alyssa originally brought to us, which is a ban. And I think if we have an anti-discrimination ordinance, then we're not like putting out there that it's not something we can enforce, because it's in our code. So that's my kind of short, I'm sure other people have thoughts, but I think that's where we should direct our energies.
Council.
So what kind of heavy lift would it be, Amy? Could it be arbitrated through mayor's court?
Sure, I mean, any law we put on the books that has a criminal penalty of our own ordinances can be brought in our mayor's court. The issue really becomes proof, how you establish that the practice is occurring. And I think that's where we reviewed this statewide and only came up with one incident of actually being enforced anywhere. And that was in, I believe, the city of Cincinnati, and the practitioner was listing it on the website of a service that they were providing. So, proof becomes the issue. But yeah, I mean, pulling an ordinance together is certainly not a big lift. And any criminal citation in the village is going to be subject to going to mayor's court. So, yeah, I mean, it's really at council's will of what you'd like to see to come back. But it just comes back to the conversation that we had before about how you establish the case and how you prosecute it. Oh, and also there is that pending Supreme Court of the United States case that might invalidate all of these local bans, depending on what the court does with it. Oral arguments in that case were about 2 months ago, but they've not rendered a decision yet.
Any other comments from council?
So when they would meet again, like in the spring, probably? Isn't that how it's usually?
The court, I think we'll see a decision before then.
Okay, how long does it take to filter down to us then?
Well, if the Supreme Court issues an opinion that they have invalidated these bans under the First Amendment, it's immediately effective and would invalidate any local ban in the state of Ohio.
But doesn't mean we shouldn't have an anti-discrimination ordinance. So I'm willing to take, based on the Cleveland model, Cuyahoga County model, take the first stab on and put a draft in the packet. I think, Trish, what you just made me think is we should probably have a resolution as well.
That's what
To like say that we abhor this practice. And yeah, I'm willing to draft both of those if seems like there's general support for
Yeah,
that.
I believe so. Brian, you feel, to what degree do you feel you need some support from Amy?
Oh, well, definitely Amy and Judy will review it like they always do. But I think we've got the templates out there, so.
And you'll do the draft the resolution then?
Yeah,
Do you need-
based on those, yeah.
And if it's an ordinance, it would need to not come until January.
Yep.
I think that's okay.
Okay. So maybe we have a resolution for the next meeting, and then we'll have a draft ordinance in the packet, and you guys and the new council will be able to take a look at that. But, yeah, I mean, when she said that, I was like, wow, of course we need that in our code. So, all right.
Just quick question, Amy, what, regarding, I guess, was Cuyahoga that did the, Brian, help me, was it Oberlin or Cuyahoga that also had partnered with, if it was Oberlin, it would have been, if it was Oberlin, it would have been their resolution that was partnered with an anti-discrimination ordinance, or was it?
Cuyahoga.
That's Cuyahoga.
Cuyahoga.
Yeah.
So my question is, does it make sense to also do the anti-discrimination ordinance, or is that going to be included in the draft ordinance that you're proposing?
What I'm envisioning is a resolution like what Oberlin did that said, you know, we do not accept conversion therapy. And then when the ordinance comes around, it's the anti-discrimination ordinance is then referenced in the code for any sort of enforcement.
Understood.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Is everyone generally in favor of the proposal that Brian has offered? I am.
I think so. I guess I'm not totally clear on how the anti-discrimination ordinance and the conversion therapy ban would interplay, and like what the breadth of the anti-discrimination ordinance is. So I guess I think I'm in supportive as long as it isn't like a big can of worms in the short term.
If you looked at what was in the packet, I mean, I think the language that they use in some of those sections is what's in their, you know, anti-discrimination ordinance, you know, which is just saying you don't discriminate based on, I mean, it's in our village values. We just haven't, you know, actually, you know, we say we've codified it, but, you know, that's a resolution. So that, it's that kind of thing, yeah.
No, it's one of these where if it is that kind of thing, and it's just, this is pretty straightforward, and we can look at it one time and it's not a big expense, then by all means. I'm just sort of flagging, like, if it becomes this thing changes the language of that thing, and you know how sometimes these things go. That's where I guess I just say, let's talk about it some more if we're going down a long road.
And to that point, Gavin, in my experience, anti-discrimination ordinances, typically when a municipality has them, it'll be discrimination in housing or the workplace, and it can be a laundry list of things. There is typically either a Human Relations Commission or a Civil Rights Commission or some type of board for these complaints to be brought in front of. The penalty can still be criminal, but there's got to be someone to adjudicate whether or not the discrimination occurred. And so that's where I think we might be talking about two different things when I answered your question about enforcement. A conversion therapy ban that has a criminal penalty, someone advertises on their website that they're providing that type of treatment in the village, that can be brought in front of mayor's court, absolutely. But a broader anti-discrimination ordinance, typically those, there's a lot more evidence to weigh and consider to see if it's actually occurred. So there usually is some type of administrative board to hear those complaints.
And, you know, my thought would be, I mean, a future thinking could be, do we bring the Human Relations Commission back? But I think on this particular issue, Mayor's Court, I was like, wow, I mean, we've got that in place. So the Cuyahoga County ordinance also mentions the the Ohio, I've got two notepads here, the Ohio Civil Rights Commission. And so they mention in that ordinance that you can refer these cases to the Ohio Commission and then come back that way. So I think there'll be, you know, a little bit of figuring out, but I guess, yeah. Anyway, I'll stop talking.
Well, thanks for being willing to put in the work to move this forward. Okay.
Well, it was just, I mean, Cleveland, along with Columbus and Dayton and Cincinnati and Athens, I mean, and Oberlin. I mean, those are the communities that help us or help remind us of progressive policy.
Well, I think that would also, we should probably add that in Cleveland and Cincinnati and Columbus, these things they're happening.
Yes.
They're happening. And the difference between those large municipalities is that they have the stuff in place to really enforce them, and it's also happening in those larger communities, unfortunately. And fortunately, it is not happening here. I wanted to restate that from a couple meetings ago.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Alrighty, moving on. Thank you, everyone, for your participation. New business. Is it new business? Go Bus. Okay.
Go Bus.
All right, Go Bus.
Super cool.
Which sounds a lot like Go Bucks, which we all are in favor of.
Yes.
But it does say Go Bus.
It does say Go Bus. This is a program that ODOT reached out to the village and thought it would be a great place to have a stop. If you look at the map, the green going from Toledo all the way down to Cincinnati, that is a new route. All the colors are a new route, I should say. All the gray is already existing, so they're adding 4 or 5 more routes, so you can literally, 68 at the train station would be the bus stop. It will be 365 days a year, twice a day. So there'll be one going south, one going north, and you pay like $10 if you want to go from here to Bell Fountain, or if you want to go up to Lima. If you're up in Lima, you can go up to Lima. It just is a very cost savings way to get from one side of Ohio to the other, and we are fortunate to have them ask us if we wanted to be a stop.
Great.
So Johnny, just clarity on the stop. So, at least on the route going, towards Xenia, are we talking about like they pull up like right where the cutout is?
They will.
For the
Cutouts will be the great spot. That's
Okay.
where the bus will head in, and then when it's going the other way, it'll probably be right on the other side of the street.
Okay.
So-
And we've got plenty of right of way
Yes.
there. So
Yeah.
cool.
That is actually where they offload some of the elderly buses or street fare. If we have a charter bus come in, we had one come in from Columbus last time. We pulled them up there, and then they turned around and went and parked somewhere else, and then that's where they come and loaded. So this is at no cost to the village. There'll be another thing come back next meeting for you to authorize me to sign. They'll provide us the signs, we'll install them on our pole, and they'll start advertising. There will be a ribbon cutting ceremony later in the year when they get everything finalized. But first, we got to get all the contracts signed.
Okay.
So
I'm sure that there is an existing schedule, because you said of the.
there will be, and they have not narrowed it down. They showed us a mock schedule.
Yeah.
But they've got to get all the commitments before the actual. So if you're going to ride this Go Bus, I will tell you that when it says that you have to be here, you have 5 minutes. And that bus only stops for 5 minutes both ways. So if you have a ticket to get on the Go Bus, you want to be there 5 minutes early so you're prepared to get on.
They have
And they are,
Wi-Fi.
and they are not
USB.
just school buses, these are actually Greyhound buses that.
Retrofitted Wi-Fi,
Yes.
USB, electrical outlets, and, this actually is the old Penn Central Railroad or the Little Miami Railroad. It's the same route,
Same route,
it's the same route.
so.
Cincinnati to Toledo used to be the route that the trains went.
So I had somebody ask me, so do you know, so if you're trying to get, say, from Yellow Springs to Cleveland, would you pay $10 at Bell Fountain and then $10 at Columbus and then?
I think you would actually, I don't
There
know
like
this for
other
sure.
transfers?
There is transfer locations, and Bell Fountain in Lima is transfer stations. So you would just buy your ticket, I would assume. I'll get that information, and then you would just show that to bus driver, and then they hold on to the ticket and do
The
the
most it would be
transfer.
was 30 bucks.
I think it was
There were
30,
like- there was
35
another
bucks.
Go
you
bus,
know.
but there was like another bus that went from Columbus, I can't remember the name of the bus, Columbus to Chicago for 50 bucks.
Yeah.
Megabus.
Megabus, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a megabus, but just up for Ohio, or whatever that's called.
Sure, we're, please. Yep.
Where do they park, Johnny? Where's a cutout for them?
Right there on 68. They will not leave State Route 68. Where they have the bump outs now for the bike path, where the flashing lights are.
Yeah, so if you drive by there, it's like right at the
Yeah.
edge of the train
Right.
station. So, I mean, not a necessary expense, but a potential expense would be to set up like a place for people.
This is all ODOT funded, so if they want to set.
They'll set that
If
up.
they want to, they can, but then that'd be another agreement they have to come back on.
Okay.
Right now, there's no setup for benches or anything.
But we might want to consider that.
If we wanted to later down the road,
I
because
mean,
we're actually
for-
talking about like Green Cats, maybe rerouting them out to that same location.
Okay.
Because the Bryant Center parking lot gets busy and trying to get them buses in and out. So it is possible.
Because I feel like on the west side, I mean, there is the picnic table there. And so, I
Correct.
mean, there's a place, it's not covered. But across the street,
There is also picnic tables there,
where they would stop.
right there by the
Oh, yeah.
pine
Okay.
trees.
Cool, there you go.
Good. All right. Go Bucks, I mean, go Bucks.
Yes.
Just, it's sort of like, it's a speech impediment.
Stop that.
Man, what was this? Any other questions regarding the Go Bus proposal? Sounds exciting, looking forward to it. Thank you, everyone, for your participation. We're now down to future agenda items. Gee, I don't know if the Go Bus thing was
Yep, it's
already
there.
there, but that just came up. Brian's proposed draft
Got it.
legislation.
Really just ran.
He doesn't want to know about what we do in the future. Hopefully he doesn't see the recording and hear us talking about it. Anything else that we might have overlooked that's not already either on the agenda or the couple items we just mentioned for future agenda items? Anything else?
What I got.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nope, you got what I
Okay.
got.
Anything else for the good of the order? All right, hearing none, I will entertain a motion and a second to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a great